Gotta find me there.
Then they say goodbye.
So why are all you girls taking every time? Oh,
Girls taking
somebody tell me.
falling for someone else's time.
Every time love says hello,
They say goodbye.
please, baby,
All you
why?
girls taking every time.
Oh, I gotta believe there's a Roni for me somewhere in this world. I'm not gonna stop, gonna search till I drop, till I find that girl. I gotta believe there's a Roni for me somewhere in this world. I'm not gonna stop, gonna search till I drop, till I find that girl. Taking every time, babe.
Why keep falling for someone else's time?
Why do I? Hello,
They say goodbye.
no.
Girls
Taking every time. Oh,
girls taking every time.
oh, somebody tell me.
Falling for someone else's time.
Oh, every time I say hello.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm Calvin Lester. Stephen is out serving our community for the evening, and we're going to have him back on Thursday, but we are glad to have you with us. This is, again, Issues That Matter. I'm Calvin Lester, and we are so excited about this evening. We pray the conversation that we have tonight is enlightening and empowering. We're going to talk about a lot of things that are going on in the community, and we couldn't do any of that if we were not given an opportunity by our station owner, who is Brother Johnny Antoine. And listen, I thank him so much for being community minded. I mean, you know, in the days that we live in, we don't have a lot of outlets for us to talk about things that are going on that are important to our people. And Brother Antoine provides us this awesome opportunity to talk to you and bring people on for you to ask questions of that are insightful, important, and you can kind of get to the bottom of some of the things that's going on in the town. So we thank him for providing us this opportunity, and you know, we don't take it for granted. So thank you, Brother Antoine. And listen, this is something that you guys need to continue to support. This whole 97.7 Heat, it's a movement. It's about being community minded, doing things that are important for you, and you. So listen, if you want to participate in our conversation, there are several ways you can do it. You can call. Our number is 318-779-0459, 318-779-0459. Or if you're watching on Beyonce's internet, you can give us a note in the chat and we will bring it on. So want to hit a few quick topics because we've got a special guest that's going to be calling in at 7:15. One of the things that I saw, we got to give credit where credit is due. Want to give a big congratulations to Coach Prime. Coach Prime. I mean, you know, there was a whole lot of mush mouthing going on about his coaching skills, his ability to put together a team and a staff and those things. And he went out there to Fort Worth, and Colorado defeated TCU. Now, that's, you know, some people say it's just a football game. Yeah, but TCU played a national championship last year. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, one of the commentators in college football said that I think the quote was, the only team that has a worse roster than the University of Massachusetts is Colorado. And Colorado just went out and put 40-some points on the team that played for the national championship and won in their place. So, of course, as only he can do, Coach Prime was very excited on after the game and was calling people out, talking about, you know, I saw what you said, and the whole 9 yards. I think it's very interesting. It's going to be even more something to watch because, primarily the students and these college programs are made primarily of African American young men. Let's just call it what it is. And you have very few opportunities for African American men to coach these big teams of more African American youngsters. And it just never set well with me that, this idea that our children who were raised by black fathers, black uncles, black cousins, black coaches all their lives, suddenly when they got to college, they could not be coached by African American men. That somebody from outside the community that does not share the values or whatnot could suddenly be better to instruct these young men on leading the program. And so to the extent that Deion Sanders is slowly, brick by brick, piece by piece, destroying that myth is why a lot of us were Colorado Buffalo fans over the past weekend, and certainly will be Colorado Buffalo fans moving forward. So shout out
all
to Coach
black
Prime.
staff too.
Yeah, oh no. Listen, I'm not mad about it. He's a great coach. Well, let me say it like this. He's a very good coach. We're going to see if he goes to the level of being great. But from what I saw, he has those young men believing in what they're doing. And I'm going to tell you from a team perspective, when you've got the whole squad moving together, fighting for each other, you may have better athletes on the field, but it's hard to beat a team that the guys have each other's back and they're playing together. That's almost impossible to beat. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Speaking of Buffalo, Mr. Enrique Torrio, who is the leader of the Proud Boys, who was charged and convicted of seditious conspiracy. Brother Johnny, they gave him 22 years
I've seen it.
for his part in the January 6th uprising. Be clear, it was an attempt to overthrow the government, and they gave him 22 years. And, of course, he cried in court. They wanted to give the United States wanted to give him 33, but they gave him 22. Interestingly enough, some of the other leaders of the Proud Boys, they got sentenced. One of them got 10 years, one of them got 18, and they tell me one of them, after he got sentenced, Johnny, believe this guy still jumping up talking about Trump still won. Going to jail, going to jail behind the big lie, and he still talking about got Trump in his mouth. It's crazy. I mean, it's borderline on a cult type situation.
Yeah, he the one should have got 20.
Well, I mean, it's just wild. And so, seditious conspiracy is one of those charges that you generally have to look up into the history books because we haven't had a conspiracy against the government in years, but we got one. So we'll see how that goes. In other news, in other entertainment and what's that, legal news, BG from Cash Money was released today. Gone. So BG served 11 or 14 years. I'm not sure what I tried to Google what he was in for. I don't. Was it something like a homicide or an assault or something like that? I can't.
Something like that, man. I had an artist with him, man.
Really?
With Travis Cook singing. Matter of fact, did the song over here in the studio.
Really?
With BG.
Wow.
I can't say the name of the song, but
right. Because this is community radio. But I understand.
But he did a song, man. When he, matter of fact, when he did the song, he went to jail. That's how long he been in there. He been in there a long time.
Yeah, they said he did 11 or 14. He did
Yeah.
11 or 14, but he's home today. And, prayerfully, the brother has made some changes in his life and ready to do something a little bit different and move forward. So
Definitely.
we'll see how that goes. Look, we're going to take a really quick break, tongue-tied. And I think we're going to have a special guest that's going to be calling in at 7:15. So you're listening to Issues That Matter. This is WKSH 97.7. We play what we want to play and we say what we want to say. Stick with us after the break.
Sometimes I feel I don't know which way is up or which way is down. You make me feel like you're not for real. You play with my emotions, but I can't let you go. I've got this love burning deep down inside of me, telling me that I should believe everything that you say. It's hard to live a life with somebody day in, day out. I've got to know the truth. I can't be just wasting my time. So I'll be yes, I will.
Hello?
Chase.
Hello?
This is Hunter.
Hey, Hunter, how's it going, sir?
Good. Is this Calvin?
This is Calvin. This is great. And this is Johnny Antoine. That's somebody in Baton Rouge. I know he's probably talking bad about me. But we thank you. After the break, let me tell you how it goes. We talk. I'm gonna introduce you, and then I'm just gonna throw some questions based upon some of the things that you've been putting out on your social media about the platform and things of that nature. We'll probably answer a few questions, and then we'll go to a break. And then after the break, get a couple of more topics. And if it's something that you want to specifically hit, I'll make sure to write that down so you can get that out. And that's be what it's gonna be.
That sounds good, Calvin.
So,
Appreciate you having me on
no,
the
I
show.
appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I know y'all are busy doing this debate prep, so how's that going?
It's going good.
That's good. Well, I mean, that's kind of what you do as an attorney. That's not going to be an issue.
Yeah. We reconvene tonight after your show.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
We're going strong.
That's good. I've been getting some good responses back to the television commercials up here, by the way.
That's good.
Yeah.
We feel we've had nothing but positive responses from those commercials all over the state.
Yeah, those are great spots.
So I think that the message is resonating. The campaign is growing,
Right.
and the support is growing. So it's all good.
Okay. All right. Well, we're about a minute out, and then we'll bring it in and we'll go from there.
All right. Thanks.
Sure. Yeah, boy, let me tell you something. That goddamn Johnny Gill. And so I remember that Johnny Gill was out.
Mm-hmm.
Then that goddamn, because you played it a minute ago, that Joe came out that next year. And then I'm going to tell you who was on the tail end, but it was still hitting. That
Ooh.
Second Shy record.
Yeah.
I don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
Boy, let me tell you something.
Here we go. We'll get him in.
Love in the Elevator was my cut.
Love me, baby. Giving my all to you. Giving my all to you.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
And we are back. We are back. I'm Calvin Lester, and we thank you for paying attention to this evening. We have, I think we're going to have a great conversation, but you're listening to 97.7 The Heat. And before we get to the serious thing, I just got to make this statement. Ladies, if he don't love you like a 90s R&B song, it ain't real. I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's hard.
Hey man, if he don't love you like 90s R&B, it ain't real. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So listen, we have some very, very, very important elections coming up. Certainly we've got elections here locally when we're talking about sheriff and parish-wide things, and of course we've got some races for the state representative, state senate. But one of the primary things that we've got to do in the state of Louisiana is pick our next governor. And that's a very important job. And so we've got a gentleman who is an independent, who has some really interesting views and about what he'd like to see in the state of Louisiana, how he'd like to move it forward. He is none other than independent attorney Hunter Lundy. Attorney Lundy, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good, Calvin. Thanks for having me on your show.
Well, thank you for taking some of your time. I know you guys are busy working on some debate prep, so we want to get to it. Attorney Lundy, kind of share with our audience your background. I know you're an attorney, but let the folks know which did you come?
You know, I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Grew up there and went to LaGrange High School. Started McNeese, but then I went to a school in Mississippi and played football at a little college called Millsaps. Went to law school, worked for a federal judge, went back to Lake Charles, and that's been my primary residence for the last 40 years. And I've practiced law, and you asked me what kind. I've done a lot of environmental work over the years for economically deprived communities. The Mossville case was one that probably stands out in many people's minds, where I took on Conoco and Condea Vista and got 2,000 people relocated because they had a plume of chemicals underneath their homes. Unfortunately, it didn't get into the drinking water, but that was kind of the beginning of many cases around the country that I did for communities that were, affected by polluters. And so, I continue to practice law. I've been involved in other projects. In the BP oil spill, we helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people, fishermen, commercial fishermen, shrimpers, oystermen, small businesses, and I can go down the list. My last project was probably I was one of 6 lawyers appointed by the federal judge in California to prosecute Monsanto for not warning people that Roundup could cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma if it was used incorrectly. And so after 3 trials that were successful, we resolved our cases. And then I announced to my law partners of many years, where I was the CEO of the law firm, that I was leaving and going to run for governor. And so since early 2022, not being an elected official, I got out. I started campaigning, and we've worked the state. You and I, Calvin, we met last year. And so I've made an effort to go in every parish and get before every city council, every police jury that would allow me, and speak in every audience in every church that would open the door for me. And so that's me. I've got 3 grown children and 6 grandchildren. My oldest son is a fire captain. My youngest son is a ship captain. My daughter teaches in a community college. So we believe in public education. We believe in all education. My mom was a kindergarten teacher and a professor of childhood education. My sister's a retired kindergarten teacher. My grandfather was a high school football coach. So we're about education. And so if you want to know about my platform, I'll be happy to share with you, and you can bet education's right at the root of it.
Well, let's start there. And again, I'm just impressed that someone who is as accomplished as you are, rather than take a victory lap and enjoy some of the fruits of your hard work, have decided that you want to serve the people of Louisiana. And you talked about education. I think everyone understands how important the education system is to the growth of our state. What types of things do you see with education, or how would the Lundy administration handle education in Louisiana?
Well, we would. I know Secretary Cade Brumley has done a pretty good job, and I think we need to speak to the legislature and convince him that we need to invest more money in early childhood education. We need to start when they're 3 years old. So the brain of a child is 80% formed by the time they're 3, 90% by the time they're 4. So we need to reach our children. We need to make sure that that is in the budget to fund these early childhood education. At the same time, with federal programs that were created, being cut off, we've got to make sure that every single mom has the funds to have child care to go while they work. And I've made it clear I believe that the minimum wage should be raised. If we want to give people hope, we got to increase the minimum wage. And these, we got 800,000 single parent families in Louisiana. 800,000. Most of them are women. So, they're in the workforce. We got to prepare them, make sure that they have a trade, make sure they have a skill, make sure they get an education, they have the benefits of child care, all of which is important. So when we reach a child early, we know when they can read by the time they're in the 3rd or 4th grade, they're not going to prison. Incarceration and literacy match up. So I've said from the beginning, Calvin, my campaign is about education, poverty, and crime. All three are linked. And we're the #1 poverty state in the nation. We pay, our firemen are the worst paid in the nation. Our policemen are around 45th paid in the nation. Our teachers are somewhere in the 35 range. When we make promises like was done this past year, and I know the governor promised it and the legislature resisted him, so we need to pay our teachers, and we need to let them teach, not teach to test, but teach to learn. So, coming from a family of educators, I know how important it is. And I know that 70% of the children going to our public schools are coming from economically deprived households. So we just need to pay attention. We need to make sure that our counselors are counseling children when they come to school, so we know where they're coming from, and so we can help them. And so when we change that, when we attack poverty in Louisiana, and we do that with education, we reduce incarceration. And when the rest of the country doesn't look at us like we're the #1 poverty state in the nation, when they look at us differently, our economy shifts. It changes.
Right.
So the three are linked. And so we want economic development. Let's change the perception of others towards Louisiana. And I think that's been my message all along.
That makes a lot of sense.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let me say this: the folks on this show are very proud graduates of historically black colleges, those being Southern University and Grambling State University, and many of the folks in our audience are alums of Southern and Grambling or Dillard or Xavier and places like that. Can you speak to what role historically black colleges will have in a Lundy administration, and what, if any, importance do you think these institutions have to our community and to our state?
Well, first of all, I will always support the historical black colleges and universities. The history is so important. The tradition is so important, and the education is so important. I one of the young lawyers I hired years ago was an honor graduate of Southern University Law School. Today, he's a federal judge in Lake Charles. I'm proud to say that James Kane is doing a great job as a federal judge. I know what these colleges and universities and the law schools have done. I've had the privilege of having lunch and visiting with Dr. Gallo. I attended the Black Pastors Forum at Southern University a couple months ago, and I think the questions that were asked me and the answers that I were given let people know where my heart is. And my heart is to preserve these colleges and universities, to make sure that they get the resources that they need. I'm a little put out with some of the priorities in Louisiana where money's being spent where it shouldn't be spent, when we've got buildings that need to be repaired at Grambling. We got other buildings that need to be repaired at Southern. So, I am, I think and it's not just that, it's the UL system, and all of the UL system schools. We have to have our priorities straight. So Grambling University is very important to North Louisiana. It's an economic engine for Grambling. It's close to Ruston. It's close to Monroe. Southern University is just a few miles from LSU. And, I mean, SUNO is important to that community. Southern Baton Rouge is important to our community. So we need to look at them not just as tradition, not just as history, but as economic engines for our state. And so I'm the candidate that's told every audience that I've been in, I'm gonna everybody gets a seat at my table when I'm the next governor. I will listen to everybody. Everybody gets to participate. I'm not gonna, there's one candidate in this race that's he's just polarizing the community. He's polarizing the state. Refusing to go to the debate this Thursday. I mean, it's just totally ridiculous.
So look, let's pause right here for a break, because I wanna come back and talk about that a little bit more, Hunter. So listen, you're listening to 97.7 WKSH. We play what we want to play and say what we want to say. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. You still there?
I'm here.
Okay. I want to go into the whole piece of being a governor for everybody.
Right.
And the fact that, we've got one person that's been polarized, and it seems like he's made his brand to put one piece of Louisiana against another, and want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
And the debate, and kind of let you talk about that for
Right.
a bit. Is there anything that we've missed that you want to highlight?
No, I'm going to highlight the fact that I'm not beholden to anybody,
Gotcha.
any political party.
Gotcha.
I've got friends that are Democrats, friends that are Republicans. I'm a consensus builder,
Gotcha.
not a grenade thrower.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll be right after this song goes off. We'll come back in and we'll hit that, and we'll hit those two topics, and then we'll let you out of here so you can go on, get ready to
Alrighty.
make mincemeat of those folks on the stage. Yeah, man.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
And we are back. Thank you for taking some of your time and attention to listen to us. We've been having a conversation with Attorney Hunter Lundy, who is a candidate for governor for the state of Louisiana. We thank Mr. Lundy for taking some of his time to share his platform and his views with us. One of the things that we were talking about when we left, there is a debate candidates forum that's going to be, I want to say this Thursday, and it's one of the first opportunities for people who are running the governor to get on and have a conversation about their platform. Well, one of the candidates decided that he did not want to participate, and it seems like he tried to shame or blame the fact that the National Urban League was a part of the conversation. Now, if you know anything about the Urban League, they are not a radical organization. They're an organization that puts out position papers about African-American communities, marginalized communities. They run numbers and they just give data. And the data says, hey, this is what it is, that's what it's not. And they suggest policies for cities and states and nations or whatnot. And so Mr. Landry decided that he did not want to come because of that. And so, Hunter, you were speaking of this idea of coming to the forum, but I think the bigger issue that you were about to address is a concept that when you win, you have to be governor for everybody, even the people who didn't vote for you or the people that didn't agree with you. Why, in your opinion, is it so important for us to stop pitting one side of Louisiana versus the other?
Well, you know, you and I both know a house divided will fail, and we cannot allow this division to continue to go forward. It migrated from the Washington, D.C. into Louisiana. At the end of the session this year, you've heard my radio commercial. I said the red fought the blue. The Democrats and the Republicans fought. And then the Republicans fought with the Republicans. And then we ended up with a budget that nobody knew what was in it. They closed the book. And then we've learned from all the pet projects and them taking money out of health care and them not giving the teachers what they promised them. What a mess. But
Right.
It's attitudes like the Attorney General has that causes these things to happen. And so I agree with you. Urban League has done wonderful things for this country and for this state. You know, this thing is co-hosted by Urban League, by PAR, Business and Industry, and others. That's just some kind of nickel and dime excuse that he's given, and I'm tired of it. And so he won't show up at forums. He's not going to show up Thursday. You know, I know he's trying to dictate the venues and the number of attendees for other forums, and the people in Louisiana are not going to stand for it. So I just, you know, I'm a consensus builder, not a grenade thrower. You know, some things we don't compromise on. We don't compromise on issues of faith, but on issues of what's best for the people of Louisiana, we work together. We move forward. We do the things that are necessary. You know, I tell people I grew up singing the song, red, yellow, black, or white. They're all precious in his sight. He loves us all. I tell people I love God, I love people, I'll live it out. And so, you know, that's the kind of attitude we have to have if we're going to change the outside perception of Louisiana. So we use education to attack both poverty, and we use it to attack incarceration. We need to fund our local jails to where they can have rehab programs right there, drug rehab programs in the local jails. They can have faith-based programs. They can teach for GEDs. So we not only reduce incarceration in our Department of Corrections, but we do it in our local jails too. So there's a lot of things that we can do, Calvin, that can grow this state, grow the people, let people be productive citizens. And when we do that, we have a higher tax base. We have more funds, and we also grow the economy. We should be the number one tourist state in the nation. You know, think about the culture we have in this state. Think about it. I consider, you know, the historical black colleges and universities, that's part of our culture. That's part of who we are. And so we need to protect all of our colleges and universities because they're economic engines for their communities. And so all this other stuff is foolishness. And so I just I want the audience that's listening to your show to know who I am, and they can check me out because I've done what I said I was going to do. Most of my whole career I've helped people. I've been an advocate. I have skills that others don't have. I have friends that are Democrats and friends that are Republicans. I can talk to either side, and we can move forward, and we can work together. We don't have to throw grenades at one another. We don't have to call our local DAs and sheriffs and call them names. We can get together and we can cause a reduction of crime. People ask me, do I have a vision? I said, yeah. Look what New York City did in the 1990s. They had a crime rate much higher than some of the cities in Louisiana, and they went after, the smaller crimes. And that way, if you can rehab the young people, they won't commit the larger crimes. They'll be productive citizens. If you increase the minimum wage like they did in New York, you give people hope. I can go down the list of what they did to improve that city, and it became the number one tourist attraction in the nation. And so we can recreate that atmosphere in Louisiana. And so, if you have any other questions, but, we all know a house divided will not stand. So we got to come together, and I'm the candidate. I've been all over the state.
Right.
The state is looking for an alternate, a credible alternate to Jeff Landry, and I'm the alternate. I'm the credible alternate who cares, and I don't care what kind of label you wear, And so that's who I am.
Well,
And so yes, I've moved up in the polls. Yes, I've got traction, and yes, I think with the vote of the people, I'll be the next governor. So it's Hunter Lundy, governor, or it's LundyForLouisiana.com. You can go online. You can check me out. I want your listeners to vote for me, and I think they won't be disappointed. I will not let them down. So
we appreciate
teachers
that.
have to be allowed to teach. One last word.
Yes.
We got to stop teaching to test. One test does not fit all. So I'm a proponent to get rid of the LEAP test. And so we need to let our children go out for recess. We need to have physical education. We need to do things the way they were done when you and I were growing up, and to have a smarter, a healthier young population. I like social media. I think technology is important, but there has to be a balance. And so one thing we learned from COVID, all the deaths, all the autopsies that were done, there was a huge vitamin D shortage. So we got to let our children go outside. They have to play. And they learn teamwork. They develop character. They learn to communicate. So mandatory recess is important. Physical education is important. These are things that I will implement and I will target when we have the governor's office, and I'll work closely with the Secretary of Education and the legislature to get as many things as accomplished as possible.
Well, we thank you, Attorney Hunter Lundy, for taking some of your time this evening to share with us your heart and share with us what a Hunter Lundy administration will be for the state of Louisiana. Give us your social media and your websites one more time so our folks can follow you.
It's LundyForLouisiana.com. It's Hunter Lundy, Governor. You can go on that and you'll see that, you can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. You can follow us on any form of social media. You can go online and you can give online. If you give $1, we're thankful. If you give $100, we're grateful. If you give $5,000, I'll come cook for you. And anyway, I'm just so grateful for people of Louisiana, and so Calvin, working together with you and others just like you that have a heart for the state of Louisiana, we can improve things, and for me, it's about my grandchildren now. I have 6. The last one was born on the 4th of July, and so and we got to act now. It's not the future; it's now. We have to act now. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you so much. And that was Hunter Lundy, candidate for governor. We'll be back on the other side of the break. Stick with us. Hunter?
Hey, Calvin.
Thank you, sir. I think that was great.
Thank you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy 1 month of digital boards.
Okay.
I want them to run from the 15th till October the 14th.
Okay.
I'm out of town.
Okay.
I'll get the money to you, and I'll sign the agreement. And I'm going to go ahead and, it was like $17,000 a month. So I'll buy a month's worth of digital on all those boards. And so I just have to, I'll direct the campaign
Gotcha.
manager to send to, I got to sign the agreement.
Gotcha.
I'm in Baton Rouge for,
Gotcha.
I don't know how long.
We'll get it done.
That's what I want to do. And then we'll talk about GeoTV because, geofencing can replace a lot of GeoTV. We can get right in somebody's backyard.
Gotcha.
We can get into the church. We can get into any place we want. So you and I will have that conversation later.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Calvin.
much. Have a great one.
You be blessed.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.
I know what to do. I gotta take good care of my baby. Baby, I'll be by your side, girl. By your side, girl. No matter through the thick and thin. And everything within. Promise on my knees, baby. Baby, I'll be by your side, girl. Oh, baby, come with me each and every day. I'll treat you right, girl. Yeah, I don't know what happened in your life before. But whatever happened, it won't happen no more, no more. So baby, let me do what I came here to do. The smile on your face will never be erased after I make sweet love to you. The look in your eyes is telling me you want me again and again, my best friend. Just in case you didn't hear me, lady, there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. Your pain, your heartache, your worries, I'll take them away. Oh, yes, I will. Baby, I'll be by your side. By your side, girl. No matter through the thick and thin. And everything within. Like I said before. Baby, I'll be by your side, girl. Oh, baby, come with me each and every day. I'll treat you right, girl. Oh, yeah. Be by your side, girl. Sweet little sexy thing. No matter through the thick and thin. No matter what you're going through. Within. I don't care through your ups and downs, baby. Be by your side, girl. I'm standing firm. I'm gonna be here for you. Come with me every day. I'll treat you right, girl. Oh, baby. I love you so much, girl. I love you, yes I do.
I'll do anything and anything for you.
I'll do anything for you, babe.
All I'm asking you to do is just this one thing, baby. Just stay with me.
Stay with me, oh girl. Oh girl, yeah. Love like yours is hard to find. Find me some peace of mind. I never wanna leave you. Give my word. Love me oh so tenderly. Baby girl, please set me free. Oh, man, yeah. Every day, yeah. I'll treat you right, girl. A love lady is by your side, girl. It's hard to find. No matter who the thing, gotta find me. In everything. Never wanna leave you, girl. Baby, I'll stay by your side, baby girl.
Issues That
you can't
Matter
tell me that
with Calvin
is
Lester
crazy.
and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
And we are back. I'm Calvin Lester. Stephen Jackson is out serving the public, and I'm sure he'll be back on Thursday. He's out of town right now, but I enjoyed that conversation with Mr. Lundy. I think he's got some great ideas. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have some thoughts, share them with us. Our number is 318-779-0459, 318-779-0459. This is going to be a very pivotal year for our state. Obviously, we've had two terms of a Democratic governor, that being John Bel Edwards, and I can tell you the difference in having a John Bel as governor is a difference that can be felt. You had someone in the governor's mansion who listened to our issues. You had someone in the governor's mansion who fought with us shoulder to shoulder, and one of the things of many things that I appreciate about Governor John Bel Edwards is, one, he was a friend to our colleges. You will recall that the governor before him, Bobby Jindal, was just like a one-man army cutting funding for our institutions of higher learning. I mean, he cut them to the bone. The amounts of dollars that left public higher education, they said was almost to the tune of $1 billion. It was like $770 million that was cut. And so Governor John Bel restored that funding and didn't make any cuts. And one of the best things he did was he took the Medicaid money that, then Governor Jindal did not, because, of course, he was trying to run for governor and not running for governor. He's called himself running for president, kind of like this clown over here in Florida, trying to show off to a national audience by just doing a bad job for his state. And, it kind of makes you wonder, if you're a bad governor, you're probably going to be a bad president. The Bible says if you're faithful over a few things, you get blessed with more. And, before we decide to make you the president of the whole United States, what did you do with your state? Did you move your state forward? Were people happy? Was the state making money? Were things going well? Well, we see how it's going in Florida. And if you elect people like DeSantis, you know what it's going to go. What am I talking about? Well, one of the things that I saw today, and I was very excited, a panel of judges in the federal appellate, I believe, threw out Alabama's congressional map, because the Republicans in Alabama sent a map to the judge that did not have the additional African American congressional district, or specifically a district where African Americans could elect the person of their choice, as per the Voting Rights Act and as per what the Supreme Court told them. The folks in Alabama said, we heard what you said, but we're not going to do it. Well, because of their obstinance, the court appointed a special master, and this special master is going to draw the district. So you got a neutral party drawing the district. What does that mean to us? That means everything to us in Louisiana, because we've got the same scenario. They've got to draw another congressional district where African Americans can select the candidate of their choice. Our legislature is just as Republican and just as hard-nosed as the Alabama legislature. So we're going to have to probably have the court appoint somebody to draw it. Let me say one more thing while I'm on this subject, and you're going to hear me say this a whole lot more before time is going on. You folks, you got to realize when you get ready to go to the ballot box and vote for your state representative or your state senator, you would be wise to elect someone who has a track record of making things happen. And you will be wise not to go with the candidate that has the prettiest billboard. You will be wise to elect the candidate that has the most fight in them. Because understand, our legislature is more Republican every day. And you got to know that they are not in the business of giving things to us in our community. So we absolutely need people who understand the process. We absolutely need people who can work the process, who have experience in the legislative process, who have shown that they can make things happen and get things done and bring resources back to our community. And so we're going to talk a lot about that because we got some really important House of Representatives races. We've got a state Senate race, and all of these things have direct relationship with what goes on in your life from a state standpoint. Do understand that the legislature decides where your tax dollars go. The legislature decides how much money is going to your kids' schoolhouse. There's something called the MFP, and that is the funding formula for K through 12 education. The state decides that. The state decides whether or not we're going to have criminal justice reform or we're going to go in the other direction. So you want to make sure that the people that you send to Baton Rouge are our best and our brightest and not our cutest and prettiest. So I'm going to leave that at that. I thank you for your time and your attention this evening. This has been Issues That Matter. We're going to come back on Thursday and talk some more about these issues that are pressing our community and maybe even have a guest or two. Thank you for your attention. This has been Issues That Matter. This is still 97.7 WKSH. We still play what we want to play, and we going to keep saying what we want to say. Have a great evening.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.